Hi, welcome to The Real Generation Gap. I'm Rudy Ruiz.
I'm Fred Satilli.
And today we're going to be discussing the 1936 film Modern Times, written and directed and starring Charlie Chaplin in what I think was his last performance as the Tramp character. And I know this is one of, if not the last silent film, even though it really is kind of partially a talkie as well. So we're at an interesting time in film history here. And this follows the Tramp, the famous Charlie Chaplin character, being a factory worker, kind of dealing with the new industrialization of the world, losing his job and kind of befriending a homeless woman, and how they just try to find work and, survive out in the world. It's funny, I chose this one because there's another show I edit for some folks, and they were talking about this film, and I was like, I hadn't seen this one yet. And the Vista in Los Angeles happened to be screening it. So 35 millimeter, matinee, 10 a.m. So I went on the weekend and I saw it. I'm like, all right, big screen, full on sound, everything. It was a packed house.
That's so rude. That's your jam. You can't resist that.
Yeah, I'm all about it. And it was well worth it. I had seen The Kid before in scenes and clips of other films, but this is the only other one I've seen the entirety of. And it was a really fun experience, man, to see it in a full house, like packed theater in Hollywood. And I love watching movies like this and seeing like people with their families, like little kids, old people my age, like people in their 20s, and how everybody is laughing at all the same moments. And I think it holds up so well. We've talked about a few comedies on this show and how for me, oftentimes I'm like, for me, it doesn't quite hold up and this and that.
Right.
But this is
Dated
something
material.
but this still, it does, sure, it gets slow a little bit at times. It's a silent film, mostly silent film, but I think it holds up real well, like incredibly
100%.
well,
100%,
incredibly well. A lot of the jokes and everything still work, the production and set design and everything. I'll throw it to you real quick. I loved it, clearly. Was this your first time seeing it, or have you watched this one before?
I've seen this many times.
Okay.
And the iconic scene that I always remember, that I really remember vividly from the first time that I saw it, is when he goes into the mechanism of the machine, and there are all these gears and pulleys, and the guy is going through the gears.
Yeah.
Like he's lost and trapped in the machine. And at one point they even have like a lunch break where he's like comes out and eats something, and then he goes back into the mechanism and he's trapped in the gears, and he's rolling through this assembly line thing and all that. Once again, they had no special effects then. That was live.
Yeah.
And they created that thing, and that was to signify, the mechanical age or the industrial age, or how these machines are an integrated part of your life, and you're trapped in the machine.
Yeah.
There's no way to get out of the machine, or it's difficult to get out when you can, or you might have a brief moment out, but you're going to go right back in.
Yeah.
And that scene is, to me, the most iconic scene in the movie. You could disagree, but I think that,
I think it's very influential too. That's I can completely see in Michel Gondry films where it's like, there's a lot of your aesthetic that I see in this single shot of him going through and then going back in reverse, and all that.
Yeah.
I agree. For me, I think my big kind of moment, and this is a bit that I had seen before even seeing this movie, is we're in the department store, the mall, and he's roller skating by the the ledge. And even though I know it's not real, it looks really good. It's very convincing. I watched it on the big screen and it still looks real. The matte painting job they did, and I'm assuming it's some kind of forced perspective, but it still makes me anxious when I just think
he's going to go right off that edge.
Yeah.
And the fact that
it's him doing it, and he's actually blindfolded. I don't know if it's, he can see through it, but it's him doing his stunts and all that. I love that.
The reason I love that scene is because Bud Abbott of Abbott and Costello, they have a similar thing. And not only does he do that scene, the skating, but there's also one where he's dancing in the restaurant, right? And he's dancing like, don't tell me about Michael Jackson. This guy, holy mackerel, the calisthenic stuff and everything. And so the Abbott and Costello thing is the same thing. Bud Abbott puts on ice skates, and he goes out onto the rink or something, and he's almost falling down. And to be to be like almost falling down like that is harder than skating.
Right.
Like he's on the tip edge of disaster for like 3 minutes where he's, going like weaving through the crowd and on, on one foot and almost falling down and all that kind of stuff. You try doing that, forget it. This is an actor doing it. Mm-hmm. This Charlie Chaplin was doing that. It's one thing to act and, we're going to talk to each other, like a scene on a Taxi Driver or something. Right. It's like, that's one thing. But man, to do that physical comedy like that and make it so convincing, it's not like they highlight it. It's not like they go, well, wait till you see this. He's going to do these stunts and everything.
It's just par for the course. It's just how we do it.
Incredible physical talent as well as everything else.
Yeah.
The other thing where you said where you see one scene and then you see it in another movie where they have it. Well, one of the most iconic things from I Love Lucy is where she's on the assembly line and she's eating the chocolates and stuff. It's the exact same scene.
Yeah.
He's on the assembly line. He's turning the bolts, right? And like as he's going down, like sometimes he's ahead of it. He's going to the right. And sometimes if he sneezes, he's got to go way over here and fight his way back.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's a break time and they stop. And then he's so used to turning the two wrenches. He's out in the street like everything.
Going crazy.
He goes to the fire hydrant. He goes to the lady's dress. Right? She's get away from me.
Well, when he goes to take his smoke break in the bathroom and the screen comes on with the big boss and get back to work at this very big brother type vibe and all that. Whoops. Yeah, that's the one.
That's a big commentary on Big Brother. You're being watched. You're being controlled. And you see where the guy behind the desk, he gets a phone call and he tells, turn up the machine, make it go faster.
Yeah.
He's got, turn. Meanwhile, they're bringing him food they're bringing him trays like a beautiful girl is bringing him a fantastic meal and he's sitting there. Yeah, make everything faster, like the whole factory. Everybody's working harder, right?
And even to the effect of there's the whole feeding machine idea, which is pretty funny, but the whole idea being like, hey, they don't have to take a break. They can just have this machine feed them and they just keep working.
Yeah, it even wipes your mouth, like it's got the wipe your mouth thing.
It's like alternating. Like that was good.
That was a bizarre idea. Yeah. See, that was something that could have been not in the movie, but
it was goofy laugh. I do think though this whole sequence, like at the assembly line, it's the one point in the movie that for me started to drag a little bit, where I'm like, all right, we're here a little too long.
Yeah,
like,
let's
get out of here.
They beat that to death.
It's like I get it.
But then they introduced the most beautiful girl on earth, Paulette Goddard. Oh my God. And she's the homeless waif, right? And probably in real life, Charlie Chaplin had affairs with girls that were like 13, you know?
And so I think they were married for a while, right? When they made this movie, she was in a few of his
some
films,
short amount of time, but holy mackerel, how beautiful is she? And in a silent movie, it's really, your face is a big part of what's going on.
Yeah.
In rags.
They just got a little smudge of dirt on her face.
No, it doesn't even hurt. Didn't hurt at all. Right? It was cute smudges.
Right.
Like everything. Yeah. It's amazing what you can get away with when you're beautiful.
Right.
You could really, and the thing about the two of them is they're irrepressible. They're living in weird, abject poverty, a kind of poverty that you and I can't even understand. You know what I mean? Like no hot water in the apartment. Like you just turn the faucet on, the fact that water comes out at all.
Yeah, to the point where he wants to go back to prison.
Yes.
So that he can eat and like have a bed and all that.
And that was true for a lot of people.
Right.
A lot of people joined the military for that reason. These poor, destitute, like sharecropper farmers and stuff who the crop failed and, well, I'll just join the army.
Right.
And, even in your favorite movie, The Dirty Dozen, they have Telly Savalas as the part of Maggot.
Yeah.
And he's down at the stream. He's shaving in ice cold water.
Right.
And the guy, maybe Coburn or one of those, he says to him, he probably never had a shaved with hot water in his life. Like for him, it was nothing.
Yeah.
It was nothing. It was like, shave, go down to the river and shave or something like. He was totally comfortable with that. And those two, they tried so hard to get ahead. They were obviously intelligent and talented people, but just couldn't get a break.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get a break. Things went wrong. And at the end, they just shake hands and walk down the road together and do it again, try it again, you know. I felt at the end like that ending was so uplifting. And just imagine, that's in 36, just imagine people, even the whole century before that, people who lived in the South on farms, and they're going to get on a train and go to Detroit or Chicago and get a job in a factory or something and try to, you know what I mean? And wear the same clothes every day.
Yeah.
You know, you have one outfit or one pair of shoes, and you know, you're just at the subsistence level. Like if you can get a little bit better, like today we're having meat. Like yesterday we had bread and pasta or something, and today's a day when we're, you know, oh man, the poverty in that movie is striking to me.
Yeah.
You know, the streets are full of crap and everything is dirty, and, you know, they're lucky to have a bad job. They fight to get a bad job. They fight to get a job or you might be killed, like safety factors and stuff like that. You know, I mean, some of these things, you know, the Panama Canal was like, you know, some 36,000 people died or some incredible number. And just imagine taking those kind of jobs.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I'll build that skyscraper. I'll go 100 feet in the air and hammer rivets in it. You know, and just it's amazing the strength and mettle and fortitude that people all over the world had to do these things and you know, create. Man, I look back on it and you know, I marvel at some of these things. The Empire State Building,
Right.
You know, it's like just the idea that somebody was even going to try that. They thought they could pull it off. They had it all figured out, you know, just how heavy the bricks would be and the steel structure and that kind of thing. You know, you're a real good alcohol guy. You know, you're you know, drinks in a movie, you know, right? So you know what Cutty Sark is, right? The actual Cutty Sark ship that you see on the bottle, it was at that time, it was one of the very last of those big sailing ships before the steamships, but it had a steel frame with a wooden body. Like you always think of those boats as being completely all wood, right? And most of them were right up to that point. They got to the point where they were making a hybrid, like a steel frame, and then wrapping all the rest of it around it. You know, and that boat's one of the classic ones like that. You know, it was just built at a time where that was like, when it was done, then they had like motorboats. It was like, oh God, you know. Well, they still used it, but interesting. And all that architecture back then, you see these giant buildings are made entirely out of red bricks. Yeah. And the bricks were from the Hudson River. You know, they literally, like up the river somewhere, there was this incredible amount of clay that they just mined it, and they built that Depression architecture. You know, that was the Depression time, right? In 1936. Man, oh man, buildings like with thin windows, and you're in there working all day and hot, no air conditioning, and oh man.
You're tapping into something for me where, so yeah, watching the movie, the ending was very powerful. It was uplifting. Like I welled up a tiny bit. Honestly, I was like, man, I need this right now. Like honestly, I was like, I needed that same, like when he's talking to her. And he's just like, it's all good. Like, we're going to keep going. Like, we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep trying. We're not giving up. And literally, like, they're going to walk off into the sunset.
Maybe we'll do better in the next town.
Yeah, you know.
We wore out our welcome in this town. Let's, you know, get out there and thumb a ride or something. And
you know, I'm thinking it's okay. We've seen many happy endings and this and that. And I'm like, okay, why does this work so well still? Like, why is this impacting me more than some other films? Because I even get to a point where I'm like, okay, we're gonna do the Hollywood happy ending, like you undercut drama, but here it works so well. And well, I guess it just earned. And I think everything you're saying, like providing more of the context, I think is what really makes it work and makes it earn. Is like, we know that, but I wasn't really articulating it till you were saying it out loud. It's like, yeah, it's like when we're experiencing the journey with them and what they're going through. And also the fact that it's not a period movie in that it came out now and they're like setting it in the 1930s. It's like, this is 1936. Like,
it's a
we're
newsreel.
in it. Yeah.
It's actually,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, this is
There are
what
people
it
in
is.
the audience going, yeah.
Like yeah.
I'm living this. Why are you? Why is this
right.
even a movie? You just shot the stuff of this going on in the street.
Yeah.
But you know what the heavy thing at the end is, the heavy moral or whatever of the story is that the reason that it's a happy ending, even though they're completely destitute, the reason that it's a happy ending is they have each other. And it's that's the thing that makes you have a tear.
Yeah.
It's like they have nothing, but they have each other, and without each other, they really have nothing. You know.
Yeah.
One friend of mine, he said a funny line. I don't know if it was Bogart, but a guy says, all we have is our loneliness. And he says, yeah, and if they get together, they won't even have that.
Interesting. I like
but
that.
when you said about going to the theater and seeing all the people there watching this old movie, everybody in that movie is dead. Everybody. It's like Ben-Hur, right? Cast of thousands. They are
all gone. Yeah.
What a legacy this is. Something that still holds up after 100 years. This is about literally 90 years, right?
Yeah.
And yet it elicits the same feeling. It's got the same believability. The jokes are good. The sad scenes are good. The triumphant moments. You're really rooting for these people.
Yeah.
You are really praying for them to make it, you know, and as things go bad, much as you'd like to be in despair, they're not. They're like, okay, bad break.
Yeah.
Bad break. And when we leave here, we're going to be hungry. But you know what? We're going to find something. We're gonna press on. It's really a test of human mettle.
Yeah.
And boy, they sure have it now. Like they sure had it then. Like we don't have it now. People now, holy mackerel. I only have one bar. You know.
Yeah. I have to make a comment real quick on the music as well by Charles Chaplin. The musical track Smile, man, is also such a key component of that working. It's just such a good melody. It's, when I was still in performing music, that was part of our show in 2010. So it's got like a soft spot in my heart from that. And then, seeing it unfold in the movie is just such a wonderful piece of music. And then later on, they would add the lyrics. Nat King Cole and many others would take it on.
Smile, though your heart is breaking.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. That's the fortitude.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I don't even know how to rate a movie like this. I mean, it's above and beyond. It's really something special. And I the character of the little fella, like I don't buy that sorta, but the whole rest of the world certainly did. He certainly, I mean, it's like Sylvester Stallone made Rocky and Rambo.
Yeah,
this is what he made.
Yeah,
and it was wow, as iconoclastic as a thing in movie history. This is just the beginning of movies. They had the things they created then were all original.
Yeah.
I guess some stuff could have been stolen from ancient literature or something, but man, oh man, everybody, the movie techniques, the makeup, all that kind of stuff, it was all experimental.
And what's funny with this one is like the fact that like modern times, Charlie Chaplin, like this was the end of an era. Like it truly signified like this is the end of silent film, because they were already doing talkies for a while, like years before this. And that, everyone had to make their transition. Many didn't make it through and, weren't able to work anymore. And it's like kind of amazing when the boss first speaks and I'm like, oh yeah, they're talking a little bit in this one. And eventually this is the first time we hear Charlie Chaplin as the Tramp speak, when he's talking gibberish when he has to sing the song because he lost the lyrics. So he's like making up words, but it's still just amazing that it's like, oh, this is it. You're hearing him for the first time. And this would be the end of, man, we're going in the modern times. I don't know. I guess all that to say, it's funny that how, you're talking about how original everything was. And yet there was a period where this was the end, of Yeah, just an era. It's crazy. And oh God, the fact that we can see it in theaters now and like you said, iconic. I just love that. I love hearing kids watch this and like laugh, and just knowing that there's probably like an older cat in the back somewhere also laughing at it. The fact that it's a film print, like it's still, I'm sure it's been restored many times over, but it's a physical roll of film that they got back there. That is
digitize
from, like,
that.
the
Please
movie.
digitize that before it melts.
Right. But like the fact that it's preserved and that it's something you can hold in your hand, and there's who knows how many are even left, like copies of it.
Right.
Is it's special. I love movies, and this is
they
why
don't even have that now.
like
there are some of the modern stuff we see. It's a download.
Yeah,
that's it.
Most people aren't striking prints anymore. No. But yeah, you mentioned rating. I guess after I'm gonna have to say 10. I was gonna go in with an 8 or 9, but now I have to say 10. Just after
you really do.
This talk,
you really do. Because if you don't, it's like, what the hell do you want then?
Yeah,
right. So I agree. I agree.
Could have used some Marvel characters in there. I'm just kidding, but.
Right, yeah. Like Bart Simpson says, could have used the vampire. Right. But yeah, it's that way for me too.
Yeah.
I think it's undeniable. It's an undeniable masterpiece. If you haven't seen this movie, you're not even into movies. It's really the beginning. I about a year ago when we started this, I asked to review Bringing Up Baby. Mm-hmm. I think that was like a year later.
Yeah.
And that's the same way. The first rom-com ever. Bringing Up Baby. There was nothing even like remotely like that.
Is that Howard Hawks?
Katharine Hepburn.
Okay. But director is it Howard Hawks?
I don't remember now.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That kind of thing. Those kind of pure black and white. They weren't even pretending to have color yet.
Yeah.
And this is that period just before World War II. Mm-hmm. And that's really the end of the era. Mm-hmm. Like when that happened, once 39 came.
Right.
They had the Wizard of Oz, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. It was after that. It was going to be high speed farming, high speed, production.
Yeah.
When you're making 50,000 tanks in a period of 3 years or something, you can really produce. Yeah. And the world really learned how to produce, whether it was food or education or whatever it was. All of a sudden, man, what a change of history took place in that short period of time.
Yeah.
It's wonderful that we can go back and see stuff like this historically.
So that's a wrap on this one, everybody. Leave a comment. Let us know if you've seen this film. What do you think about it? And if you have any other maybe silent era recommendations for us, some other films you like, then leave a comment. Let us know, and we'll be sure to check them out.